Okay, so what if the really cutting-edge aerospace tech, the stuff you see in movies, isn't actually fantasy?
Like, what if it's real and operational, just hidden?
Exactly. And what if there was some huge ancient catastrophe, something that totally reshaped early civilizations, and we're still feeling the effects?
Big questions.
Yeah. So for this deep dive, we've pulled together a whole range of sources. Stuff for you, the learner. We've got declassified documents, CIA, FBI, NASA.
Scientific papers, too?
Right. Scientific studies, ancient texts, and, yeah, some research that's definitely, well, out there.
On the fringe, maybe.
A bit, yeah. But our mission here is to see if there are connections, links between, say, black-budget aerospace,
Secret planes and stuff.
suppressed energy tech, maybe advanced ancient civilizations, and this possible, global cataclysm way back when.
It's fascinating how these different threads, from patents to geology to old myths, seem to potentially overlap.
Okay, let's jump in. This idea of secret propulsion tech, funded by black budgets, hidden from view.
Right. The sources talk about the big defense contractors: Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, the usual suspects.
But the idea is the real work, the DARPA money, the Air Force funding, it gets funneled, maybe, through smaller, almost unknown companies.
Companies with no obvious aerospace contracts, yeah. Makes it hard to track.
It really makes you wonder what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Authors like Michael Salla, Timothy Good, they've written about secret space programs, super advanced spy planes.
Tech, that sounds like it's decades, maybe more, ahead of what we see publicly.
So the core idea, a hidden aerospace world running on next-level tech.
And what kind of science could even make that possible? One concept that pops up in the sources is this thing called the recursive harmonic framework.
Okay.
The formula mentioned is S equals ab times sine of 2 theta. Now, we don't need to get lost in the math, but the basic idea presented is that plasma, superheated gas, might interact with space itself, bend it, manipulate it somehow.
Plasma bending space?
Theoretically. It's not, proven mainstream physics.
Yeah.
But it's proposed in some of this material as a possible explanation for how advanced propulsion could work.
Interesting. Because then you look at things like patents. Public patents, supposedly civilian. Like Lockheed Martin has one for an electrothermal plasma thruster. Boeing's got an advanced propulsion concept using electrochemical discharge.
Yeah, right. And they're filed as theoretical.
They're linked to DARPA funding, so
Yeah.
how theoretical are they, really?
Exactly. Could that be the trick? Hiding military breakthroughs inside these sort of academic-sounding patents?
The line between open research and classified military tech might be, well, pretty blurry.
It's definitely a plausible way to keep truly revolutionary stuff under wraps while still, documenting it in some form. Frame it as just an idea.
Okay, so if this tech exists, where do they test it?
Well, the sources point straight at the famous black sites, don't they? Area 51, Dugway, Tonopah, China Lake, Groom Lake.
The places where people report seeing weird stuff in the sky.
Precisely. And researchers like Corey Good or Timothy Good, they suggest that maybe, just maybe, some of those UAP sightings are tests of these secret craft.
The descriptions fit? Sometimes. Incredible speed, no sound, impossible terms.
Things that match up with what you might expect from, say, advanced plasma propulsion.
So the fact that sightings cluster near these secret test sites,
Yeah.
that feels significant, right?
It really pushes you to consider the possibility. Instead of automatically jumping to extraterrestrial explanations, could a chunk of these UAPs actually be ours? Highly classified, but human-made.
It's a perspective you have to consider, given the location.
I think a lot. The circumstantial evidence linking sightings to potential advanced military testing is, well, it's there.
And it's not just the test sites. The sources hint that this classified R&D might be woven into commercial aerospace, too.
Like SpaceX, or maybe unknown companies getting huge grants.
Yeah. Jacques Vallée, the RAND Corporation report on the F-35, they touch on this kind of overlap. Public and secret mingling. Then look at UAP reports spiking during big military exercises, like Red Flag near Nellis Air Force Base.
That correlation is interesting.
And you have Air Force and Navy pilots, credible witnesses, describing those tic-tac objects.
The Nimitz incident, yeah.
Objects that move in ways that seem to break physics. Could that be something like MHD propulsion, magnetohydrodynamics?
Using magnetic fields to move plasma, it could theoretically allow that kind of silent, hypermaneuverable flight.
And what about the radar jamming? the electromagnetic interference people report in UAP hotspots.
There could be side effects, right? If you've got powerful plasma fields for propulsion, maybe they mess with electronics nearby, unintentionally even.
Sources like the Pentagon's UFO program report or books like UFOs and the National Security State, they really hammer this connection between military activity and these strange sightings.
So you've got the sightings near bases, the pilot testimonies, the EM interference, and you line that up with the theoretical propulsion, the black budgets, the patents. It starts to paint a picture.
A picture where maybe these exotic propulsion systems are already flying. And what people are seeing sometimes isn't aliens, it's us, our secret tech.
It's a compelling argument, piecing it all together like that.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Suppressed energy technologies. This idea that maybe the way we power our world isn't the only way, or even the best way.
The energy lie, as some sources put it. That concepts like free energy or even anti-gravity might exist but are deliberately kept under wraps.
But why? Who would benefit from hiding that?
Well, think about it. Truly cheap, clean, abundant energy. That would fundamentally change everything. Economics, geopolitics. The stakes are massive.
Okay, so where do the sources point? They mentioned HAARP, for instance, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program.
Right, and the funding supposedly involves big players. Rockefeller Foundation, Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman.
The defense and aerospace giants again, investing heavily in what's often called a radio research project.
Seems like an odd fit, doesn't it? Raises questions about what HAARP might really be about.
Then you have the patents. Classified energy patents.
Things related to zero-point energy, tapping energy from the vacuum of space. Cold fusion. Over-unity devices. Machines that supposedly make more energy than they use.
And these aren't just rumors. There are actual patent numbers mentioned.
Specific examples are cited, yeah. The Searle effect generator. Bearden's electromagnetic vacuum energy patent, cold fusion patents, they exist within the system, even if they're kept secret under national security.
National security, that's the justification.
Often, yes. And while some secrecy might be needed for military tech, using it to potentially bury transformative energy solutions, well, that raises some serious ethical questions, doesn't it?
It really does. And it goes further, right? Anti-gravity. Reactionless propulsion.
The sources bring those up too. Names like the Aurora Project, the TR-3B Black Triangle, speculation about whether stealth craft like the B-2 bomber use some kind of electrogravitic lift.
The electrogravitics.
Yeah.
Using electric fields to counteract gravity.
That's the theory, yeah. Still very speculative, but it's part of this conversation.
And the idea that big corporations, oil companies, tech giants like IBM, GE, Exxon, might be buying up patents for revolutionary energy tech and then just sitting on them.
Hoarding them, maybe? Examples like patents for advanced EV wireless charging held by Shell or energy-extracting oscillators patented by BP are mentioned. It makes you wonder what else might be hidden away.
So powerful corporate interests could be shaping our energy future by controlling these disruptive ideas.
It's certainly a possibility discussed in the sources. The potential for established industries to protect themselves by suppressing competition is a recurring theme.
And there's history here, apparently, with Nikola Tesla.
Right. The sources suggest his work, wireless power, electromagnetic propulsion, maybe even zero-point energy, was basically taken and developed in secret after his time.
So maybe energy isn't scarce and maybe anti-gravity isn't impossible.
Yeah.
Just controlled.
That's the provocative idea, and they point to things like the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951, thousands of patents kept secret for national security.
Including one mentioned from 2005 about extracting energy from the vacuum.
That specific example is given, yeah. And Tesla's own Wardenclyffe Tower. His dream of wireless power for everyone.
Didn't J.P. Morgan pull his funding?
Reportedly, yes, because you couldn't easily put a meter on it, couldn't easily charge people for it.
Wow. So this isn't necessarily a new thing, this suppression of energy ideas.
The narrative suggests a long history, and it gets even stranger.
How so?
Well, some sources connect this to consciousness research, mentioning CIA programs like Encultra or Project Stargate.
The remote viewing stuff?
Yeah, and the idea that maybe the mind itself can interact with energy fields like a scalar antenna, potentially influencing reality. It's definitely way out there.
Okay, yeah. That's heading into deep water.
But if you're exploring the absolute fringes of energy and propulsion, some sources argue you can't totally ignore the potential role of consciousness itself.
Wait, let's shift again. Way back. Ancient high technology and a possible cataclysm.
Right. One source mentions harmonic artifacts, objects found in really old geological layers that apparently resonate at frequencies similar to modern propulsion tech.
Wait, ancient objects resonating like modern engines?
That's the claim. It suggests technology might not just progress linearly, maybe it's cyclical. Principles get discovered, lost, rediscovered. Harmonic recursion, they call it.
That completely flips the script on history, doesn't it? Instead of just primitive to advanced.
Exactly. It suggests cycles. And then there are the declassified documents again. CIA, DoD stuff.
What do they say?
Reports of recovered materials from alleged UFO crashes. One mentioned is La Plata, New Mexico, 1953.
Recovered materials from a crash.
That's what the documents apparently say. Describing materials with weird properties, objects defying known physics. There's even a mention of a 1975 NASA paper acknowledging that if these things are real, we need new physics, new propulsion.
Wow. And it's not just recent stuff.
Apparently not. DoD files supposedly talk about ancient aerospace artifacts, tech found in archaeological context that seems way too advanced.
Ancient aerospace.
Yeah. And another DoD file from '68 supposedly links some ancient finds to possible extraterrestrial tech, suggesting maybe advanced technology, maybe not human, has been around for a very, very long time. It challenges that whole timeline of human invention, doesn't it? If advanced artifacts exist from both modern instants and ancient sites.
It really does. Okay, then there's the cataclysm idea. Around 3000 BCE.
Yeah, linking it to all those flood myths you find everywhere. Sumerian flood story, Noah's Ark. Sumerian records apparently mention fireballs and floods. Vedic texts, Chinese texts, descriptions of cosmic battles, fires in the sky.
And is there any, physical evidence?
Potentially. The sources point to things like iridium spikes in ocean sediments around that time. Iridium can indicate an asteroid impact.
Where was that found?
Indian Ocean sediment cores, the coordinates mentioned, are around 10 north, 75 east, dated to roughly 3000 BCE.
Okay.
Plus archaeological evidence, flood layers found in ancient cities like Eridu in Mesopotamia, Harappa in the Indus Valley.
Actual layers of flood deposit.
Distinct layers, yeah. And geology suggests maybe a massive tsunami came out of the Bay of Bengal, hitting those areas.
Wow. A tsunami hitting Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley.
It's a possibility explored in the sources. And even DNA studies apparently show population shifts, genetic bottlenecks in those regions around 3000 BCE. Something big seems to have happened.
So myths, geology, archaeology, genetics, all pointing to some kind of major disaster back then.
It makes you think those flood stories might be collective memories of a real devastating event or series of events.
And it gets even more specific. The Mayans.
Yeah, some researchers propose the Mayan long count calendar might actually track asteroid orbits, specifically mentioning the Torrid stream and predicting another peak encounter period around, 2030, 2040.
Seriously, encoding asteroid paths.
It's a theory based on interpreting the calendar cycles, and then you look at ancient structures. The Great Pyramid.
What about it?
Its known resonance with electromagnetic frequencies. Its alignment with Earth's energy currents, telluric currents. And how so many megalithic sites seem clustered around geomagnetic hotspots.
So maybe they weren't just tombs or temples. Maybe they were functional, interacting with Earth's energy.
That's the implication. A much deeper understanding of physics and earth science than we usually give them credit for. A functional aspect to these monuments.
Okay, this is a lot. Now, Antarctica. That comes up too.
Oh, yeah. Antarctica is presented as a real nexus of mystery in these sources.
Like what?
Downgraded satellite images over a specific area, Wilkes Land. Stories of scientists disappearing down there.
Missing scientists.
Several names and dates are mentioned. Dr. Elizabeth Thompson in '82, Dr. John Matthews in '97, Dr. Sarah Williams in 2004. And leaked memos, supposedly from an organization codenamed ARCADIA, talking about containment events.
Containment events? What does that even mean?
Unclear, but sounds serious. Plus, a big magnetic anomaly NASA found in 2006. And then in 2018, reports of a huge unexplained structure under the ice in Wilkes Land.
Under the ice. We know Antarctica used to be forested, right?
Exactly. It wasn't always ice-covered, so what could be buried there?
And there are project names?
Yeah, linked to ARCADIA. Project Zeta 10, supposedly about exotic materials and resonance. Operation Vega 7, looking into deep Earth energy signatures, all focused on Antarctica.
ARCADIA. What are they supposedly doing?
The suggestion is they might be funded by groups like DARPA, Lockheed Martin, and might be investigating zero-point energy quantum fields, ideas echoing Tesla's work on energy, frequency, vibration.
Tesla again. In Antarctica.
Connecting his ideas to maybe reactivating something. An ancient power source in Wilkes Land? That's the wild speculation in some sources.
Wow, ancient power source under the ice.
It ties into theosophical legends of Atlantis, Freemason lore about a polar energy grid, and Tesla's dream of tapping the ionosphere. Plus, things like Project Iceworm, the Cold War base under the ice, and reports of weird heat sources down there. What's generating heat under miles of ice?
Okay, my head is spinning a little. Let's try to pull this together.
It's a lot of threads, definitely.
Black budget aerospace, secret propulsion,
Suppressed energy tech, anti-gravity.
ancient high technology, harmonic artifacts,
A possible global cataclysm around 3000 BCE.
and mysteries buried under the Antarctic ice.
Could they all be connected? That's the big question these sources push you towards.
Are modern secret programs trying to, like, reverse engineer ancient tech or understand what caused that cataclysm? Maybe prevent another one.
It suggests a hidden layer to history, doesn't it? A continuity where modern secrets might be directly linked to ancient knowledge or events, not just separate silos of information.
Maybe what's being hidden isn't just technology, but something deeper about reality, human potential.
That recurring idea of harmonic recursion is key, I think. The same principles showing up again and again.
Propulsion is harmonic, energy is scalar, history repeats through resonance. That's how some sources frame it.
Implying there are fundamental principles maybe related to frequency and vibration that underpin everything, and we keep stumbling upon them.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. Hidden aerospace, suppressed energy, ancient mysteries, cataclysms, Antarctica.
Yeah.
It's mind-bending stuff.
It certainly challenges conventional narratives.
Which leads us to a final thought. For you, the learner, based on everything we've touched on. If propulsion is harmonic, if energy is scalar and tied to resonance, if history does repeat, what does it mean about your attention? Your ability to focus and, as some physics suggests, collapse reality.
And your awareness. Tuning the system, as the sources might put it.
Yeah. Could the biggest secret of all be the power of consciousness itself? Is that what whoever they are really afraid of you remembering?
A provocative question indeed.
Definitely something to think about. We really encourage you to keep exploring these connections, dig into the source materials yourself, and just consider the implications of it all.